Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ironis Insights. I got a great guest here, John Clark, the CEO
Yes.
of Wingfield Financial. John, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, man, for having me. Good to see you.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
excited to have a conversation. Yeah.
exactly. Good to see you again. Where are you calling from today?
Washington, D.C.,
All
the
right.
most powerful city in the world. Just ask us. We'll tell you.
I love it, man. Just a train ride away from me. Not too bad.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You're in the
Uh,
the financial, most powerfully financial city in the world.
I mean, that's what they said. JP Morgan just built their world headquarters here, even bigger, so we'll take it.
Even just made it even bigger. I see.
Yeah. Exactly. Just what we needed.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk. You got some cool things going on. But why don't you give us a little bit about your background and how you got
sure.
to where you are today as CEO of Wingfield?
Great. Thank you so much for having the opportunity to chat with you and your company. Appreciate you having me on today. So, a little brief background on me. I've been about just under 40 years in business, about 36 years real estate investing, 32 years in financial services. And I've had the pleasure, privilege, challenge, and opportunity to work in multiple industries over several years, as I just described, but also some of them simultaneously. I've had at least two rounds of employment or company ownership for the last 23 years. Right now, we're running five companies. Wingfield Financial is really at the moment itself is a living confirmation and combination of all of that rolled into one company where we exercise all of our connections, our experience, our expertise, and the financial strength that we've attained over the years into a private equity firm that owns vibrant businesses and properties around the United States. And eventually we have some global plans.
Love it, man. Really, I mean, I love hearing someone else with some real estate background. As
Yeah,
you know,
we have that we
we've
got that
talked
in common.
talked about that offline. I've been doing that for
Yeah,
about 15 years myself, and yeah, I mean, real estate capital of the world here in New York,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's important to see what other markets have in store
Hmm.
for these real estate investments as well. There's a lot
Yeah,
of opportunity out there.
absolutely.
And it seems like, I mean, we were talking a lot about buyers and sellers, and I feel like I want to get into momentum actually. I'm really
Yeah.
curious, you know,
Yeah.
what you're doing there.
Well, and we purposely named it a verb because we are about giving out momentum to others. It's something that you can't really own. You might be able to channel or direct, but we don't own momentum, but we certainly offer it and we operate with it. And what that translates to is financial momentum as well as intellectual and strategic momentum for people who are wanting to own real estate, see the value in it, and want to grow and multiply in that. We give financing out to people who want to own properties and also refinance once they already own and want to kind of recapitalize based on the value of real estate. It grows and appreciates, as you know. And when you do that, you want to leverage that and then double leverage by taking that equity and maybe acquiring more and continue to double down and triple down. And so, what we're excited about with Momentum Mortgage Group is we are transforming the whole way customers engage in getting pre-qualified and pre-approved and therefore and finish the financing as well. So the beginning of the process is what we've fixed so far, and our proprietary software launches next month to the public where they can take advantage of this drastic change that we've created through the use of agentic AI. A lot of folks have heard of AI. And now that it's been out a couple of years, many people have started to understand more and more about agentic. And so we've implemented that over the last year, building proprietary software with 22 years of being in the mortgage business across the country with multiple sources. Now we own our own company to deliver this product, this service that has answering a call that's been out there for 10 or 15 years. I mean, if you've been in real estate, I know you're on different angles and different sides than maybe I was, but I'm sure you've heard or maybe felt the frustration that goes on with just getting through the process. Why is everything so time consuming and difficult and challenging? A lot of it has to do with either governmental rules or financial hurdles that you got to get through. And so we've sped up that process all the way down to under 3 minutes to have a complete pre-qualification, pre-approval, run through all of the federal government, the credit, the employment, the assets, the income. Everything's gathered digitally, saves the customers, the investors or the homeowners that time and gathering all their documents. We just have them log into our software, authorize us to go get it. We get the information for them. As you and I do, we run dynamic lives, very committed lives, and some people might call it obligated. I think because you and I choose it, I don't like the word obligation because we chose our bed, we're our workplace, and we're working in it, and our hobbies. I know you have some pretty big hobbies as well, and so we chose what we want to be involved in, but we're both committed. We work a lot of hours at it because it's a big part of our life, and we know that there's a lot of value for others. So when we're in that situation, we wanted to make a difference, I think. I know you want to make an impact and you do each day in people's lives like mine by having these podcasts and other things that your firm does. And then we're trying to impact people and change and listen to them and change the process, change the game, become more modern, really. Right? I mean, have you ever ordered anything from your mobile phone and have it brought to you?
Oh my God. I mean, every single day. I mean, there's nothing better than making things more efficient. I mean, I've become obsessed with this. And what you're doing,
Yes.
I mean, as soon as we started talking offline, I was jumping out of my skin. I was so excited because I've dealt with this hands-on, people trying to get a mortgage, trying to get this first thing, which is that pre-approval. And
Yeah.
for some people don't even know what it is. Some people think they can just, oh, I have a checking account and I don't, I'm already good, right? Like
Right.
I can get a loan and, you know,
Well, and like you said, I think the situation is that the dynamic part there. I guess I didn't round that out. Is to say we're busy, we're on the move. For us to sit down and go back 2, 3 months, 2, 3 years, gather all these documents, have it all lined up, labeled, stacked, uploaded, and every page included, and not make a mistake. That's kind of difficult for most
let's
people.
face it, not everyone's that organized, man.
Yeah,
It's not that
exactly.
simple. And it's not that you're disorganized. It's just like, yeah, exactly what you said. It's not top of mind. Maybe you have kids,
Yep.
maybe you have a family, you got your
Yep.
full-time job. You don't have a nice little neat file that has, your last 6 months of bank statements and your
Yep.
W-2s and
Right, exactly. And the
it's
exact dates on the pay stubs and all this. It's
everything
like,
is
come on.
signed perfectly, and I have the
Yeah.
the original documents, and it's
Yep.
it is a process. So I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I really think it's going to make a difference. And you said that, and that's what it's about, right?
Yep.
That's when you have something is when you're actually changing something, and especially something as emotional as buying someone's first home. Because let's face it, most
Yep.
people getting these pre-approvals, they're first-time home buyers. They have no idea what they're doing. It's an
Yep.
overwhelming process from the get-go,
Yes. It's a
and
lot of pressure. Yeah.
it's just they really feel that. So,
If we can make that simple, right, and available to them. So what we decided, I just listened to those basic things. You and I are talking about really basic humanity and basic business practices. Human has certain interests and live a certain way, and then business, finding efficiencies, making a difference. Those aren't necessarily uncommon, but I feel like what you were building towards is that we're making a difference in something that's mass adopted and mass needed, right? We're talking about 280 million Americans per year getting a mortgage in the United States alone. And so if we can help them make this easy and on demand, it's 24/7 on your phone. It takes 2 of those minutes is you jotting, typing, clicking, pushing, sliding, 2 of those minutes are you, and less than a minute is us actually going and making all this happen and saving them all that effort. And you could do it at 11 o'clock at night if you work a night shift, 2 in the morning. You can do it 2 in the afternoon. We're not going to necessarily have people sitting there the whole time. So,
I think that's
you
actually
know,
very important because there's a lot of time when the big open house days. If anyone doesn't know, it's
mm,
Sunday, right? Sundays are
hmm
the big days. It's during the
yeah,
weekend.
that's right.
And how many of these mortgage brokers are these lenders, traditional
Yeah,
banks, open on the weekends? Almost zero, right? There's always going to
right.
be that one guy that's hustling and he'll answer an email,
Yeah,
kind of, but he doesn't have his whole
yeah,
team behind him and can't really get you the full approval and all these things. You
you're
know,
right.
that what if it's a competitive house? What if there's multiple people
Yep,
there that already have their ducks in a
exactly.
row and they already have their
Yep,
pre-approval and they're ready to go? Maybe you just start
yep,
the process and you need to make a decision very quick. And that
yep.
is like where you come in, man. And I'm telling you,
Amen.
there's a market for that.
Absolutely. Well, and you and I live in those type of markets, so we're familiar with it, and you've been in this business a long time. So when you think about standing in a property, let's say in New York City,
Mhm.
$8 million, and if you don't do it now, someone's going to come in and make an offer, and you're going to have to step over them. So you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of difference between doing this now and waiting to Monday.
100%. And you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to come on Monday. It could be an all cash in a market like New York. It could be an all cash buyer come and swoop in,
And
um,
then it's over.
and then it's done. You
Yep.
really
Yeah,
have to
absolutely.
be quick. If you walk in there and you think this is nice, well, guess what? Someone else out of this
Hmm
8 million people also might think it's nice.
Exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
one of the features along with this that we include is an automatic email to the realtor within that same 3 minutes. So the customer is getting quotes, detailed, personalized, customized loan solutions, three of them right in front of them. A letter is being sent to their agent at the exact same moment. So I envision exactly what we're talking about, Alex, standing in a property, looking at it, and the realtor's phone goes ding, and you're like, oh, that's my pre-approval.
Hmm.
What? Yeah, and it's complete. We're not talking about like some of the banks will just pull credit and give you a letter says you can buy something, you're 750 credit, you can buy. Wait a minute. Ours actually went through and verified all of the income, did the debt to income calculation, verified the jobs, the job titles, got your assets, and even went over and pulled credit, ran these three custom loan solutions, then sent all of that data after it did the final calculation, ran it through the government who has to approve this because ultimately they're behind most mortgages in the United States, at least under a certain dollar amount. And then when you're in that situation, it ran through and it came back and they said approved. And then we gave you quotes and a letter. So it's a complete process. We even offer it in Spanish as well because English isn't the only language, though it's the primary language. There's a growing population that speak other languages.
Yeah.
So we'll keep rolling out other languages as we go, but we wanted to get the main two out there when we first launch in June. So we've really tried to think of everything. There's always more, but we're going to really have a great offering, make a big difference for realtors, for clients, for home sellers. Everybody really wins, including the loan officers. If you think about it, like you said, that guy, even if he's available on Sunday, he doesn't have all those tools. They're not up and running. The lenders aren't open. He can't get it. Well, this tool is directly connected to all those sources, and we don't need a human sitting there. So that's why we use the agentic AI. This is where it's like a blend. And then on Monday, if you want to talk through that with the loan officer, they're going to be available 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday. We're even going to have some staff on Saturdays so that really 6 days a week you can converse with somebody and go through it. In addition to that, though, we are launching some serious tools. So let's say you are pre-approved on a Friday for 500,000, but the house you land on is 589. Well, what's that payment? Can I still get pre-approved for that? How's this going to impact everything? Oh man, I don't know. I don't want to write an offer and write a big EMD check if I'm not sure. It's like you said, there's emotions, there's trauma, there's hope, there's concern, all flying in the air. Well, we can just resolve all that right now. They click a button and it updates the loan application, reruns it through the pre-approval process and says, yep, you're good to go at 589. And here's your new loan quotes.
I mean, that's a dream. That's just really underrated, and that's a dream, especially for a real estate agent. Not only a buyer, but a real estate agent who's trying to always get these ducks in a row, and getting it that quickly really enables them to do their job the best. The lender's
Yeah.
ultimately winning. The buyer is winning. The seller is winning. The market
Absolutely.
is winning as
Is
a whole.
improving. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Because
just
the
an
more easier
overall
you make it. it's really a win-win-win, like you say, or win-win-win-win.
Hmm.
And so what we're doing is we're offering people an opportunity to invest in Wingfield Financial and Momentum Mortgage Group, which is one of our assets. They can choose to invest in the company and get a portfolio of companies that we own, or they can invest directly into Momentum Mortgage Group. Either way, they're on the ground floor of some really accelerating things because today, what you and I talked about, though it's super exciting and it's a difference maker, like you just aptly described, here's the other thing. We've got more behind that because now we need to change the rest of the. How about how long it takes to get it all the way done and get those keys in your hand? We're going to shrink that down majorly too. So we're just talking about 1.0. We've already designed 2.0 and 3.0 right behind it, and some other great tools that we're going to give the customer and the loan personnel to just make everybody more efficient. So what we described is really a powerful play, but just imagine if we transform the entire process and make all of the paperwork, all of the timing even easier as well. We're hoping to get down homeownership within 10 days. From the
Wow.
day you say I want it to the day it's yours.
Obviously, this will be market dependent, but I mean
Yes.
that's really incredible. So you're talking about underwriting getting sped up, scheduling an appraisal, title pulling
Title
the
work.
title. Yeah.
Yep. All of that. There, yeah, like you said, deal by deal, there's going to be exceptions because of certain things beyond our control, right? But as a general rule, if things are clean, straightforward,
Yep.
whatever you want to put on it, then why are we waiting 30 and 45 days? What is that all about?
Yeah.
It's just about inefficiency. And like you, I'm driven for the two core elements that I run all my businesses on is efficient and effective. And they're similar and related and help each other, but they're a little different. And if we don't have those two elements, I immediately discard whatever ideas are brought to me. If it's not efficient and it's not effective, it might just be a fun idea then, and that's a toy. We have to implement something that's actually going to make a difference in any practice or any procedure for either the customer or internally or both, because usually they're related. In this case, they're related, right? If a loan officer is faster, so is the experience for the customer, right? They're really equal. And so, and then, like you said, the realtor and so on. So we feel like we really got some cool things here that people can sink their teeth into. And by doing so, here's the important part. We're in a field, like I said earlier, that's mass adopted. We're not trying to make a new thing and have everybody try a whole new thing and turn a totally different direction. We're already right there where they are. They're already getting it and asking for it. The problem is that the industry, because I've been in it 22 years, the industry has been ignoring the customer's request to make this easier. I've interviewed a lot of loan officers besides myself. Just had two earlier today, and they're just shaking their head like, you know what you're saying is totally true. I heard complaints and questions, but I didn't have the power. I didn't think anybody above me would do anything about it. So I just said, oh, this is the way it is
The bigger the
versus
bank, the
how
slower it
much.
is.
Yeah,
Is what I
exactly.
found out. I mean, if you
Yep,
work
that's
with a
right.
lot of local lenders around here, you don't have to deal with all the bureaucracy. It's not going through 16 different approval processes.
Yep,
And
that's
what
right.
I've noticed is that exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
Absolutely.
you
You're
are
right.
right, and you are also right that not only the consumers, the buyers want this, but also the lenders, also the people
Yeah.
working at these
Yep.
banks, working at these
Yep, it
lending
was really
institutions.
surprised me when I contacted the government. Fannie Mae is one of the agencies we were having a
Yeah.
conversation with, and they were like, "Can you show me a diagram of how this works?" Matter of fact, they made us write it out and send it to them. So we drew out this diagram. They're like, "Well, we need to see even more." So then we drew it out even more, and then they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought they would be like, "Well, I don't know. That's kind of a newfangled thing." Instead, they're like, "We're excited about this, and we're going to be shooting it up several layers and having leadership look at this because this is getting us to think about what we could do with our processes." I'm like, oh my gosh, if
I
we would have
mean,
tried this 15 years ago, wouldn't it? I mean, why do we
you
wait so
really,
long?
you really can't ask for more than that. I mean that goes to like my next point, which we were talking about this offline. What AI is doing, right? So there's a lot of like
Yes.
we've had systems, we've had workflows. There's been machine learning. This is not
Yep.
really anything too new, but this black box that exists now that the public
Hmm.
is aware of. ChatGPT, whatever you want to call it, right? Whichever one you use,
Hmm. Yeah.
now exists. So, what is happening now? Well, it's not replacing people, right? It's enhancing everything we're doing, right?
Yes.
Like you said, you're
Yes.
not rewriting the rewriting the wheel here.
No, no,
It's
yeah.
it's
Right. What we're doing, I think, so here's our catchphrase, okay? We just say people centric, meaning we still have people in the center of our mind. Everything we do is about empowering, enabling, and improving the lives of the humans, but we're tech enabled. We're enabling tech to empower people. And so, as a CEO of multiple companies, what I look at it as I call it repositioning or re empowering our people, not necessarily replacement. Some duties have been replaced. But those are the duties that were in the way of efficiency and success, not the replacement of people. Instead, I can reposition and empower my people. And I'll give you a specific example in this arena that I'm talking about, where with this loan situation, typically here's what happens. There's that stress, fear, anxiety, especially if you're a first time or second time buyer, you're trying to upgrade or trying to move up or whatever it happens to be. You've already got enough going on in your head about cost, moving, uncertainty, unfamiliarity, scary, making a 30-year commitment and spending hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. It's all of that's enough on its own. If we make the process easier, okay, great, but there's still going to be this moment because I see it all the time. Every customer I ever talk to, really, you even once they finally get, oh, I got my pre-approval.
yeah,
Okay, let's say it took a week, whatever it took,
yeah.
and they're at first they're like all pumped up, like, oh, I'm pre-approved. Look at me, And then then reality sets in, and they're like, oh wait, I gotta make this payment. I gotta come up with this cash. I gotta pick this property. I gotta leave where I am. I gotta pack everything. Am I making the right decision? Is this what I should be doing? Because all of a sudden, that's when I call that aha moment. At first, it's like, and then you're like, oh,
Yes.
and so right then is when I want my people that work for our company focus. See, now this is where repositioning them and taking them away from having their head down at the grinder wheel and working on the paperwork. And instead, they can be right there with the customer on the phone, in person, virtually, like you and I are, and be there with them at that emotional moment. Because some people say, well, property is not emotional, it's a hard, tangible asset. And loans are a transaction and paperwork. What's the big deal, John? I'm like, well, it gets emotional when it becomes theirs, real, and it leaves digits and it becomes dollars. And it turns from 30 years on a piece of paper to 360 months of payments. All of a sudden, this begins to be a whole different deal. It transitions to a very emotional deal because you also have usually someone you're living with or someone's. Maybe you got a family, maybe you got a new relationship, maybe you're thinking about getting married, you're going to live together first. So you've got all these relational issues, you got space issues, cost issues, timeline things you're dealing with. And then you're just staring at like, is this what I should just be doing? Does this make sense? So I was going through this with a customer right before this call, and they're buying a $1.3 million property. And he's like, this is the biggest payment I've ever had in my life, and I'm bigger than I ever thought I would have. And I said, let's talk about what it's buying you. And I ran an entire amortization chart side by side with a value chart and showed him that $1.3 million property is going to be 2.4 in 10 years. And you're going to have $1.4 million of equity. So for 2 grand more a month than what you were paying in rent over 10 years, so 2 grand times 120 months, 240 grand, you just picked up $1.4 million. You can't do that even in a 401k or any account.
I mean, that's what separates a good lender from a great lender, or a good broker from a great broker, or anyone that's in part of this transaction, right? An attorney, whatever it is, in the state of New York, you have to have a real estate attorney represent you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's other states like that as well.
Right.
And it really is, you have to be there for that emotional journey, because
Yeah.
it's one thing after another. Like you said, it's that, oh, great. I call it a series of small victories along the way. and it's not
Mm-hmm.
over until it's
Mm-hmm.
over. But then when it is
Mm-hmm.
over, you close, right? But then you have that payment. You still got to be
You're
there
like,
for them. Now you got to
yeah.
actually pay for it. And then you got to buy
Yeah,
furniture.
victory that leads to me choking, like gasping for air.
So I think
So
being
yeah,
there for your clients in that human aspect, right? You're using
yeah,
the technology, which is great, but you still have that human element. That's a huge,
100%.
huge touch, and it's completely needed and necessary, and it'll
Yeah,
always be, in my opinion.
I hope so. You and I hope so because we're that kind of people. We care about who we're dealing with. We get engaged and
Yeah,
we get jazzed about who we're working with. And we choose who we're going to work with based upon how we feel about them and how
yeah,
they treat us, right?
mhm,
That's human. That's just human so far. And I hope it stays that way with machines around us, that machines serve us, don't lord over us. I think that's the fear that everybody's concerned about, right?
yeah. I think as
And
long
so
as you
we
keep
as
up with it.
leaders have that responsibility too. We have to be responsible to think in that manner and guide the machines that we use in that direction and not just let them run free reign. You know?
Yeah, exactly. John, we could keep talking about this all day, man. But here
Yeah.
you have it. Wingfield Financial, Momentum Mortgage, guys. That's the name of it. He's raising money right now. Where can
Yes.
everybody find you?
Wingfieldfinancial.com and my email is jclark@wingfieldfinancial.com. Please reach out. Let's schedule a time. We do have a secure portal for investors as well that's not showing on that site. There's a link to it, but you have to have a username and password. We can provide that to people of interest where you can learn more and go deeper dive. We're open book, full disclosure, private equity firm with all the proper documentation. So
Awesome, John. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.